Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from the Frontier. I trust you had a great weekend. Let me start with the piece I wrote over the weekend, Truce, Dinner, Huawei and a Diss. You will recall that Presidents Trump and Xi Jinping enjoyed a much anticipated truce dinner at the G20 in Buenos Aires and quaffed a Catena Zapata Nicolas Malbec 2014 wine with their sirloin steaks and finished it all off with caramel rolled pancakes, crispy chocolate and fresh cream. A dinner that ran over by 60 minutes and one where the dinner guests broke out into spontaneous applause thereafter. At the very moment that the G2 presidents were stuffing their gills, it has transpired that some 7,000 miles away, Canadian authorities were making the arrest of Wanzhou Meng, chief financial officer of Huawei Technologies, at the request of US authorities. The US is seeking the extradition of Wanzhou Meng after convincing Canada to arrest her on December the 1st. Canada confirmed she was in custody shortly after the Globe and Mail reported she had been arrested in connection with violating sanctions against Iran. Meng is the daughter of the founder of Huawei, a national champion and deeply embedded in Xi Jinping's China Inc. Bloomberg said while the US routinely asks allies to extradite drug lords, arms dealers and other criminals, arresting a major Chinese executive like this is rare, if not unprecedented. This is sending a signal that there is a new game, said Dennis Wilder, a former CIA China analyst and senior director for Asia at the National Security Council under President George W. Bush. It has also transpired that Ambassador John Bolton was aware of the arrest at the time. In the hip-hop world, this would be called a geopolitical diss. A diss track or diss song, diss abbreviation from disrespect, is a song intended to verbally attack someone else, often as a response to someone's diss track. While musical parodies and attacks have always existed, the trend became increasingly common in the hip-hop genre, fueled by the hip-hop rivalry phenomenon. Huawei used an unofficial subsidiary named Skycom to transact business in Iran for Iranian telecommunication companies. That was said by the Crown Attorney John Gibb Carsley, alleged in a Vancouver courtroom. Wanzhou Meng is being charged with conspiracy to defraud banks. Of course, many will rail against the fact that the US sanctioned warfare strategy, but this is the way it is. Meng was said to have been a director of Skycom at one point, Reuters reported in 2013. Skycom tried to sell $2.03 million worth of Hewlett-Packard computer gear in late 2010, according to Reuters. Former employees of Skycom have stated that it was not distinct from Huawei, and that Skycom employees had Huawei email addresses and badges, according to the Canadian court filing. Documents obtained through an investigation by the US authorities show that multiple Skycom bank accounts were controlled by Huawei employees, the filing said. Canada will face grave consequences if it does not immediately release Meng Wanzhou, said China Daily. The Vancouver real estate market, which has boomed for decades on the back of Chinese demand, looks horribly exposed. The temptation to mug the handsome Justin Trudeau is something the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia could not resist, and it seems Xi is experiencing the same impulse. It is worth noting that Huawei is very much in the crosshairs. New Zealand followed the US and Australia in banning Huawei networking equipment from 5G communication networks, citing national security concerns. As part of an extraordinary outreach campaign, US security officials have reportedly reached out to European and Asian countries where Huawei equipment is already in use, including the UK, where Huawei hardware forms a key part of BT's 21st century network, warning them about the national security risks posed by the company. The US is mulling a subsidy for the purchase and maintenance of non-Chinese equipment by its allies. The Wall Street Journal reported noting that one of the government's main concerns surrounds the use of Chinese telecom equipment in countries that host US military bases, such as Italy, Japan, and Germany. Germany has already been considering a ban on 5G equipment from Huawei. In Asia, a ban is also under consideration in Japan. An important market for Huawei has been Africa. In fact, Huawei is the bloodstream of Africa's telecom infrastructure and ubiquitous. How this plays out in Africa is now an above-the-radar issue. A lot of folks have been remarkably casual in their assessment of where this is all going. The US administration is split, with the appeasers, Wall Streeters on the one side, and the hawks, Lighthizer and Navarro, on the other. The hawks are circling, I'm afraid. Canada will face grave consequences if it does not immediately release Wanzhou, that from Xinhua.